You know, when people talk about what men want, the conversation almost always circles back to one thing: sex. And yes, physical connection matters. It's beautiful, it's intimate, it's powerful. But there's something underneath it that rarely gets spoken about, something that quietly drives a man's sense of worth: respect. And I don't mean the stiff, formal kind where you never challenge him. I mean the everyday recognition of who he is at his core. When a man feels respected, it's like oxygen to his soul. It's not about inflating his ego. It's about seeing the parts of him that often go unnoticed. The hours he works not because he loves every minute of it, but because he wants to provide stability. The quiet moments where he makes sacrifices you never even hear about. The times he bites his tongue instead of saying something hurtful because he values the peace between you. Respect isn't saying, "You're amazing," just to make him feel good. It's saying, "I see what you did there, and I appreciate it." It's not blind praise, it's recognition rooted in truth. It's looking past the surface and acknowledging the effort, the intention, the care. And here's the thing: when you give a man that kind of respect, it doesn't just make him feel good. It makes him want to rise. He starts showing up better because you've reminded him that what he does and who he is actually matters to you. Without respect, intimacy starts to feel like a transaction. It becomes something he gets instead of something he shares. You could be giving him all the physical affection in the world, but if he feels like you don't value him outside of that, it starts to feel hollow. Sex without respect might satisfy his body, but it won't touch his heart. And if you can't touch his heart, sooner or later, you'll lose the part of him that's willing to give his whole self to you. Men don't always say this out loud. Sometimes they don't even consciously know it. But respect is the thing that allows them to relax, to be open, to trust you with the most unguarded parts of themselves. When he feels respected, he doesn't have to perform to earn your love. He can be human. He can admit he's scared, that he doesn't have it all figured out, that some days he's just doing his best to hold it together. And instead of shrinking in shame, he can lean on you, knowing you're not going to look at him as less of a man. The irony is that respect doesn't require grand gestures. It's in the way you listen without rushing to correct him. It's in how you speak about him when he's not around. It's in resisting the urge to compare him to someone else, because you know that nothing crushes a man's spirit faster than feeling like he's constantly falling short in your eyes. And here's the magic of it. When respect is present, everything else deepens. The conversations go further, the connection feels richer, the intimacy becomes more meaningful. Because now, he's not just sharing his body with you, he's sharing his soul. And that's the part of him that can't be bought, can't be faked, can't be taken for granted. So yes, men want sex, but what they ever need, what makes them feel alive, safe, and deeply bonded, is the knowledge that you see them, you value them, and you respect the man they are today, even as they're working toward the man they want to become. When that's there, everything else, love, passion, trust, has a foundation strong enough to last. Men are often seen as the strong ones, the protectors, the steady hands when life gets rough. And yes, they can be all of those things. But behind that armor, there's a truth most people don't see. Men also long for a place where they can lay their guard down without fear. They crave emotional safety just as much as physical connection, maybe even more. The problem is, they've been taught their whole lives to hide it. From a young age, most men are told not to cry, not to show weakness, to man up no matter what. And over time, that conditioning becomes a cage. They learn that showing fear or sadness can be seen as failure. So they push it all down, burying those feelings under work, humor, or distractions. But deep down, there's a longing for just one person who will let them be vulnerable without labeling them as fragile or broken. Emotional safety isn't about fixing every problem for him. It's not about constantly reassuring him or coddling him. It's about creating a space where he knows he can be honest without being judged, where his doubts won't be thrown back in his face during an argument, and where his softer moments aren't treated like an inconvenience. It's knowing that if he admits, "I'm struggling," you won't see him as less of a man. You'll see him as human. When a man feels emotionally safe, something changes in how he connects. He's not just telling you the surface level stuff. What happened at work? What bill needs to be paid? What time dinner will be? He starts letting you into the quiet parts of his heart, the fears he doesn't share with his friends, the dreams he's embarrassed to say out loud because they might sound too big or too far away, the insecurities that still haunt him from years ago. These are the pieces he guards from almost everyone. But in the presence of emotional safety, those walls come down. The tricky thing is, once a man opens up and gets hurt, it can take years for him to try again. If he shares something raw and it's met with mockery, criticism, or indifference, he'll retreat. Not because he's dramatic, but because for him, that vulnerability is rare and costly. And once that trust is broken, rebuilding it takes more than just words. It takes consistency over time. This is why emotional safety has to be built intentionally. It's in how you listen without rushing to tell him what he should do. It's in resisting the urge to use his insecurities as leverage when you're angry. It's in showing him that even on the days when he's not at his best, you still respect him, still see him, still choose him. That's when he starts to feel safe enough to bring you the unfiltered version of himself. And here's the part most people miss. When a man feels emotionally safe with you, his desire for you grows. Because now, intimacy isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional. He's not just with you because you're attractive. He's with you because you're the one person in the world where he can be both strong and soft at the same time. You become the home he returns to, not just the partner he shares a bed with. Sex can be found anywhere, but finding someone who makes you feel safe enough to cry, safe enough to dream, safe enough to be your unguarded self, that's rare. And when a man finds that, he holds on to it with everything he has, because emotional safety isn't just love, it's freedom. And for someone who's been told his whole life to carry the weight alone, that freedom is priceless. There's something powerful about being appreciated, not in grand, over-the-top ways, but in those small, consistent moments that remind a man his efforts are seen. For many men, appreciation is more than a polite thank you. It's a signal that who they are and what they do actually matters to you. And when that's missing, even the strongest connection can start to feel like a list of obligations rather than a relationship built on love. See, expectations are easy to build. Once a man does something a few times, whether it's paying for dinner, fixing something around the house, or showing up when you need him, it can quietly shift from being a thoughtful act to just another part of his job description. Without meaning to, you start to expect it. And when something becomes expected, it often stops being appreciated. That's when he starts to feel invisible in the very relationship he's trying to nurture. Appreciation is the opposite of taking someone for granted. It's not just noticing the big gestures, like when he plans a weekend trip or surprises you with a gift. It's also noticing the little things, the way he warms up the car in the winter so you're not cold, or how he makes sure you get home safely after a late night. It's catching those details and letting him know you see them. Because for men, those acts are often their way of saying, "I love you." And when those acts go unnoticed, it can feel like his love language is being ignored. It's easy to assume he already knows you're grateful. But here's the truth. Most men won't assume. They'll quietly wonder if you see the effort at all. They'll keep doing things because they care, but inside, the energy behind those actions starts to fade when there's no acknowledgement. Not because they need constant praise, but because everyone wants to feel that what they contribute matters. And it's not about flattery. Empty compliments don't have the same effect. Appreciation is specific. It tells him exactly what you value. I love how you always check if I've eaten before you eat yourself. It means a lot that you stayed up to talk when you were tired. I noticed you handled that situation calmly when it could have gotten heated. That takes strength. Those are the words that stick with him. That play in his head when he's doubting himself. When appreciation is present, intimacy deepens naturally. He's not just doing things out of obligation, he's doing them because he feels connected to you. And that connection becomes a loop. He feels appreciated, so he gives more, and the more he gives, the more you notice, and the relationship grows stronger. Without that loop, even physical closeness starts to feel shallow, because emotional connection thrives on acknowledgement. And here's the thing, appreciation doesn't just benefit him, it benefits you too. Because when you express gratitude, you start seeing more things to be grateful for. You shift from focusing on what's missing to noticing what's present. That energy changes how you show up in the relationship, and it changes how he shows up for you. At the end of the day, men don't want to feel like they're only as good as their last action. They want to feel that who they are, not just what they do, is valued. And when you can look him in the eye and genuinely say, I see you, I appreciate you, you're giving him something far more powerful than any physical intimacy. You're giving him a reason to keep showing up with his whole heart. Being chosen is one of the most intoxicating feelings in the world. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Men don't just want to be chosen once at the start of a relationship. They want to feel chosen every single day after that. It's not about insecurity or constant validation. It's about knowing that they are still the person you want, not just the person you ended up with. In the beginning, it's easy. Everything feels exciting, and both people put in the effort to make each other feel special. Compliments flow naturally, time together feels intentional, and every gesture carries meaning. But as time goes on, familiarity can make effort fade. The things you once said all the time, I'm lucky to have you, I love how you make me feel, you're incredible, start to get replaced by practical conversations about bills, schedules, and responsibilities. And while life's demands are real, the absence of those small affirmations slowly erodes a man's sense of being truly wanted. Feeling chosen isn't about grand declarations every day. It's about the little signs that remind him he's not just there by default. It's the way you light up when he walks into the room, the way you still laugh at his jokes even if you've heard them before, the way you ask about his dreams and plans, showing you're still invested in the man he's becoming, not just the one he was when you met. When a man feels chosen, he naturally leans into the relationship. He becomes more open, more giving, more protective of the bond you share. But when he feels like he's simply occupying space in your life, his energy starts to pull back. Not always out of resentment, but because the motivation that comes from feeling desired starts to weaken. One of the most powerful ways to make a man feel chosen is to show genuine curiosity about him. People change over time. His interests, his fears, his ambitions, they evolve. When you ask about them, you're telling him, I still care about who you are today, not just the version of you I met years ago. That kind of attention keeps love alive, because it shows you're not holding on to a memory, you're holding on to him. It's also in the way you engage with his presence. Do you make space for moments where it's just the two of you without distractions? Do you still flirt with him, still touch him like you did in the early days, still send a text just to say you're thinking about him? Those small things matter more than most people think, because in a world full of constant comparisons, where anyone can get attention online, the reassurance of knowing that the person you love still sees you as their first choice is powerful. And here's what's interesting. When a man feels chosen, it often makes him want to choose you even harder in return. Relationships thrive when both people are intentional about showing each other, you are still my person. That reciprocity turns love into a daily decision rather than a one-time promise. So yes, men want physical connection, they want respect, they want appreciation. But underneath it all, there's this quiet, deeply human desire to be picked, again and again, by the person who knows them best. To know that if you could go back and choose all over, you'd still choose them. And when they feel that, everything else, trust, intimacy, loyalty, grows from there. Every man carries a vision of who he wants to become, even if he doesn't talk about it often. Sometimes it's crystal clear, other times it's just a faint picture in his mind. But no matter where he is on that journey, one of the most powerful forces that can push him forward is knowing that the person he loves believes in his potential, even when he's doubting himself. Belief is different from blind optimism. It's not pretending he's perfect or ignoring his flaws. It's seeing the man he is today with all his imperfections and still recognizing the man he's capable of becoming. It's that steady voice that says, "I know you can do this," not because you think he's invincible, but because you've seen his strength before and you know it's still there. When a man feels someone believes in him, it changes how he moves through the world. The weight he's carrying feels a little lighter because he's not carrying it alone. Every setback stings less because he knows there's someone who still sees the bigger picture, even when he's stuck in the mess of the moment. That kind of belief isn't just motivating, it's transformative. And here's the thing, men don't always ask for that kind of support out loud. In fact, many won't. Pride, ego, or simply not wanting to burden you might keep him quiet. But that doesn't mean he doesn't need it. In those moments when he's withdrawn, distracted, or less talkative, it's often not because he's lost interest. It's because he's wrestling with his own sense of capability. That's when your belief in him matters most. Belief isn't about cheering from the sidelines when things are easy. It's about standing beside him when the odds are against him, when his confidence is shaky, when the rest of the world is questioning if he can make it. It's looking him in the eye and reminding him of the things he's already overcome, the strengths he sometimes forgets he has. That's the kind of encouragement that doesn't just make him feel good. It makes him fight harder. And belief doesn't always have to come in big, emotional speeches. It can be in the way you react when he shares an idea. Do you roll your eyes, or do you ask him more about it? It's in how you speak about him to others. Do you talk about his faults, or do you share his wins? It's in whether you dismiss his ambitions as unrealistic, or whether you ask, "How can I help?" These small moments add up to something much bigger. They create an atmosphere where he feels safe to dream without fear of being shut down. When a man feels believed in, he often starts believing in himself more. And when that shift happens, he doesn't just pursue his goals, he pursues them with the kind of energy and commitment that spills over into your relationship. He wants to make you proud, not because you demanded it, but because you gave him the gift of believing in the best version of him before he even got there. At the end of the day, men don't just want a partner who's there for the good times. They want someone who will stand in the storm with them and still see the sun on the other side. Someone who says, "I'm not with you because you've already arrived. I'm with you because I know you will." That belief, quietly but consistently given, is one of the deepest ways to love a man. Because when you believe in him at his lowest, you give him the strength to rise to his highest. A relationship should feel like a team, two people on the same side facing life together. But too often, love quietly shifts into a subtle competition. Who gives more? Who sacrifices more? Who's right more often? And when that happens, the connection starts to feel less like a safe place to land and more like a scoreboard that's never in your favor. Men, just like women, need to feel that their partner is not an opponent, but an ally. They need to know you're with them, not against them. Partnership is about creating a shared vision. It's about looking at challenges and asking, How do we solve this together instead of whose fault is this? When a man feels like you're on his side, even during disagreements, it changes everything. Suddenly, the problem becomes us versus the issue instead of or me versus you. That small shift can turn potential resentment into teamwork and tension into understanding. This doesn't mean you have to agree on everything. In fact, healthy partnerships thrive on differences, different perspectives, ideas, and strengths. But the key is in how those differences are handled. If every disagreement becomes a battle for dominance, he stops feeling like he has a partner and starts feeling like he's in a constant fight for his place in the relationship. That's when defenses go up, walls get built, and intimacy takes a backseat to self-protection. Being on the same team means celebrating each other's wins as if they're your own. When he succeeds, you succeed because you both know the victory strengthens the life you're building together. It means supporting his ambitions, even if they don't directly benefit you, because you want to see him grow. And it also means trusting that he'll do the same for you, that your dreams matter just as much in his eyes. For men, this kind of partnership creates a deep sense of loyalty. When he knows you'll stand with him in the hard moments, he's far more willing to be present in the easy ones. When he knows that in his weakest hour, you'll be his shelter, not his critic, he'll fight harder to protect what you share. Because true partnership doesn't just weather storms, it uses them to strengthen the bond. And here's the part that many overlook: partnership isn't only tested in the big challenges, it's proven in the small, everyday moments. It's in how you talk to each other when you're tired or stressed. It's in how you share responsibilities without keeping a mental score. It's in how you handle each other's mistakes with grace instead of punishment. Those small moments of grace add up, creating an environment where both people can thrive without fear of being torn down. When a man feels like you're truly his partner, it makes him want to protect, provide, and invest in the relationship even more. Not out of obligation, but out of pride. He's proud of what you've built together, proud of the way you've both got each other's backs, proud that your love feels like a place of safety, not competition. Because at the end of the day, no man wants to come home to a battlefield. He wants to come home to a teammate, someone who's in it with him through the wins, the losses, and everything in between. And when he has that, when he feels that your love is built on partnership rather than rivalry, there's no challenge big enough to break what you've built together. In that kind of love, both people win because you're playing for the same side,